Welcome to Lotus Flower Wellness Temple, everyone. We're here again on Sunday doing temple service, and I would like to welcome everyone that's here on the live, and of course, everyone that's here in person. So, namaste. Greet you all with love. We're going to go ahead and get started with temple service today. All right. So everyone is loved and welcome here. Come as you are. We are supportive. We hold a space for our truth and for our authentic self to come more into fullness in the life that we walk. And of course, we hold space for everyone else to do the same. So much love to everyone. So we're gonna go ahead with our Sambujo chant, and I would like to invite Quinn up. Hi, Mike. Welcome. We're having temple service if you'd like to join.
You're having what?
Temple service. Yeah, and then we've got a recording going right here now, too, a live. So if you'd like to join, there's a seat open right there. You can go ahead if you'd like to have a seat and join us. Awesome. All right, let me get it started here. All right. Are you gonna use this? Are you gonna use yours? Oh, I can get Mike one too if he wants to join the room. Welcome, everyone. Awesome. Okay. Here you go, Trey. All right. We respectfully welcome Amida Buddha to our temple as we scatter flowers of joy. We respectfully welcome the Buddhas of all times and places to our temple as we scatter flowers of joy. All right, so you can stick around and do the pyramids with me as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. The 6 paramitas. So we're going to do the leader, and then if everybody else would like to follow along with the all. Giving. May I be generous and helpful. Guidance. May I be guided by the Buddhist precepts. Tolerance. May I regard the mistakes of others with sympathy. Perseverance. May I do my best in all things. Meditation. May I reflect deeply on my life through the Buddha's teachings. And insight. May I understand the meaning of Namu Amida Butsu. And then last but not least, we have the Bodhisattva box. A second. The many beings are numberless. I vow to save them. Greed, hatred, and ignorance rise endlessly. I vow to abandon them. Dharma gates are countless. I vow to awake to them. Buddha's way is unsurpassed. I vow to embody it fully. Thank you very much, Quinn.
Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for coming. This means a lot to me, and I'm doing what I'm very passionate about, which is helping and healing people and helping people be guided back to their own personal truth and finding joy and happiness in their life now. So there are ways of thinking and just really simple kind of aha moments when you realize those, you can start to make those shifts and changes that really do affect your life on a grand level. And so being aware of those really can give you a real good shot at having some happiness and really finding your soul's path and purpose here in this lifetime. And that's my passion and my joy is to help people reach
This is not what we're doing today. This is last week, but we're gonna see. There we are.
Enlightenment is something that's a lifelong process, and it continually happens.
All right, cool. Now we're where we're supposed to be. Very well. All right. Thanks for your patience. One of the things that is very important to have in this lifetime is a little bit of patience. That's for certain. All right. So today, first of all, I want to just say thank you everyone for coming and joining, whether you're physically here or if you are on the live. We're all about harmony for humanity. So it doesn't matter where you are. Our wish and our hope is that this message, these teachings, these Buddhist precepts, the idea of mindfulness and, working your true path and getting back to your authentic true light and self unabashedly. We hope that this message reaches far and wide to every corner of the world. And so anyone that's ready, we do hope to be a community for you in your growth. So thank you for coming today. All right, so we are here today to be a little more focused about a couple things within Buddhism. So something that I thought was very interesting when I came about it was that Albert Einstein, I'm sure everybody knows who Albert Einstein is. Albert Einstein has some pretty interesting things to say as far as Buddhism goes and the belief systems. So we're going to get right into it with this short little video, and then we're going to go from there.
Einstein believed in God, but what God exactly he believed is what many don't know for sure. One of the greatest minds in modern science, Albert Einstein had a unique perspective on God that often sparks curiosity and debate. Contrary to traditional religious beliefs, Einstein did not believe in a personal God who intervenes in human affairs or the natural world. Instead, his views were more aligned with a sense of cosmic spirituality and awe. He often expressed that the harmony of natural law revealed a superior intelligence, but one that was impersonal and not concerned with individual human destinies. Einstein believed in what he called the God of Spinoza, named after the 17th century philosopher Baruch Spinoza. Spinoza's God was not a personal deity, but rather an embodiment of the natural laws and order of the universe. To Einstein, the beauty and complexity of the cosmos inspired a profound sense of wonder and reverence. In his famous quote, Einstein said, "I believe in Spinoza's God, who reveals himself in the orderly harmony of what exists, not in a God who concerns himself with the fates and actions of human beings." Einstein believed.
Awesome. So just want to throw this out there. Has anybody ever thought or made a connection between what Einstein was discussing and bringing out scientifically and anything that has to do with Buddhism? Has that ever come to someone's like, aha, I see a little connection there? Well, we're going to get into that a little bit more today. And we're going to talk about the profound harmony that exists between the ancient teachings of the Buddha and the revolutionary ideas of the modern scientists, psychologists, thought provoker, as far as I'm concerned. It's like, Albert Einstein. So through those separated through a millennial of time, born into a vastly different worlds, these two have a lot more in common with their thought ideas are, what they've shared into humanity. So the Buddha, the enlightened one, spoke of impermanence of all things, and he taught us that the world is in a constant state of flux and that nothing is actually fixed. That clinging to things leads to suffering. And in a striking parallel, Einstein revealed to us that ever-changing nature of the cosmos through this theory of relativity. He shows us that time, space, and matter are not static, but fluid and interdependent, both guiding us to see beyond appearances, urging us to embrace the dynamic reality that surrounds us.
Albert Einstein, the Buddha found what he was searching for. Einstein, the genius physicist known for his groundbreaking theories on relativity, and Buddha, the enlightened spiritual leader whose teachings have inspired millions. At first glance, you might think they have nothing in common. But hold on tight, because we're about to uncover a mind-bending connection that will leave you in awe. I am a devout non-believer in religion. However, Buddhism is the only religion that could effectively address the demands of contemporary science. Albert Einstein. Buddhism has all the makings of a religion that will be practiced by all people in the future. It is founded on a religious feeling that emerges from the experience of all things, natural and spiritual, as a meaningful unity. It transcends the idea of a personal God and avoids dogma and theology. It also embraces both the natural and spiritual worlds. If there is any religion that could correspond to the needs of modern science, it would be Buddhism. Albert Einstein. Buddhism was not only a spiritual religion in Einstein's view, it was also a philosophy of life, a holistic view of the cosmos and humanity that demonstrated the coexistence of spirituality and science. He felt that Buddhism gives a flexible attitude, providing doors to profound understanding of the nature of the universe and our place within it. In a world increasingly ruled by technological and scientific advancements, what do spirituality and science have in common? With his general theory of relativity, Albert Einstein, an unwavering figure in scientific history, marked a watershed in human history and ushered in a new era in our comprehension of the cosmos. He found that space and time are not distinct concepts, but rather are entwined and vary depending on the observer's position and speed. Beyond just a formula, the equation EMC2 makes a strong argument for the unity of matter and energy, which advances the discipline of physics. But Einstein was more than a mere researcher. In addition, he was a brilliant philosopher and thinker who went beyond the bounds of scientific theory to find a way to reconcile philosophy, science, and religion. His understanding of religion reflected a soul that was constantly seeking beauty and truth, rather than a mindless faith, but rather a deep respect for the order and wonder of the universe. Because of his ability to bridge science, philosophy, and religion, Einstein came to represent endless inquiry and the quest for knowledge of the universe. All nature's mysteries are ununderstandable by humanity. The Buddha imparted to humanity a profound lesson that allowed one to completely explore the mind's limitless capacity, which in turn led to a profound comprehension of the outside world and, in the end, to freedom from the never-ending cycle of reincarnation. The distinction is that, whereas Einstein looked outward for solutions to the puzzles of the outside world, the Buddha focused inward, approaching enlightenment via observation, wisdom, and sincere thinking. While Einstein and the Buddha both approached their work with a scientific mindset, the Buddha was adamant that information ought to be accepted without question. He pushed for open-minded verification, based on logic and first-hand experience, accepting only that which has been demonstrated to be true. The Buddha attained the profound wisdom he sought via this way. Einstein highlighted the value of morality and honesty in people, but he thought that fear or the prospect of punishment from God or any other force should not be the foundation of morality. He declared human ethics do not require a theological basis. Rather, they should be grounded in compassion, knowledge, and social obligations. It is depressing to think that the only things holding people back are hope for rewards after death and fear of punishment. Humanity is a wretched species. if the main reason for its goodness is its fear of punishment and desire for rewards? Albert Einstein, Religion and Science, New York Times Magazine, November 9th, 1930. Although Einstein rejected the idea of a personal God, he was unable to explain the universe's orderly and elegant creation. He said as much, "I have never disputed that I do not believe in a personal God. I have only made this apparent. If there is anything religious about me, it is an unbridled appreciation for the world's structure, as far as science will allow it to disclose itself. Rather than a God who cares about the decisions and deeds of people, I believe in Spinoza's God, who makes himself known in the harmonious order of things." Albert Einstein, 1954. God is nothing but nature. What is the God of Spinoza, as mentioned by Einstein? The Dutch philosopher Spinoza claimed that God is nothing more than nature, matter, energy, atoms, molecules, life, thought, individuals, societies, galaxies, and maybe even numerous universes are all present in Spinoza's universe. But nothing, not even spiritual phenomena or other phenomena beyond our current comprehension, exists outside of nature. They are a chapter of nature if they exist. Buddhism holds that the cosmos is governed by 5 natural rules, or the 5 niyamas, which are what cause everything to occur. Action, or karma, is merely one of those components. Numerous shifting forces have led to the current state of affairs. Everything exists in the manner that it does for a reason. I have repeatedly said that in my opinion the idea of a personal God is a childlike one, but I do not share the professional atheist's fervor for battling theism, whose enthusiasm mainly stems from the painful liberation process from the religious indoctrinations of youth, Einstein wrote. This statement makes it very evident that even though he rejected God, he was not an atheist. My preference is for a humble attitude that acknowledges the limitations of our cognitive comprehension of the natural world and ourselves. The middle way. The Buddha was opposed to the conventional Hindu belief of God creating the world, eternalism, as well as materialism among those who do not believe in God. He was the first philosopher to reject the notion that the soul is an unchangeable entity. Einstein appears to have supported both of these ideas. Einstein displayed humility in his prior statement, acknowledging the limitations of his expertise in unraveling the world's mysteries. Let us consider Einstein's words. A human being is a chapter of the whole called by us universe, a chapter limited in time and space. He perceives himself, his ideas and feelings as distinct from the rest, a type of optical hallucination of consciousness. This fallacy is like a cage for us, limiting us to our particular desires and affection for a few people close to us. Our job must be to break free from this cage by broadening our circle of compassion to include all living species and all of nature's beauty. Nobody can achieve this totally, but striving for it is a chapter of liberty and a foundation for inner stability. This concept is consistent with Buddhist teachings, notably the middle way, which avoids the extremes of eternalism and nihilism. It emphasizes interconnection, as well as the value of compassion and understanding beyond oneself, with the goal of achieving spiritual emancipation that offers inner serenity and a greater connection with the universe. Einstein, the Buddha, and understanding the universe. Physical concepts are free creations of the human mind, and are not, however it may seem, uniquely determined by the external world. Einstein. This comment from Einstein expresses a profound perspective on how we understand and generate information about our surroundings. He claims that physical concepts, how we define and interpret natural phenomena, are not solely governed by the external environment, but rather are products of the human mind. In other words, while the natural world exists independently and obeys its own rules, the way we grasp and interpret it through physical conceptions and theories is our own invention, based on observation, reasoning, and imagination. Einstein stressed science's flexibility and innovation, as well as the truth that there is no single method or definitive answer to any subject. This creates opportunities for scientific innovation and advancement, as scientists build and alter their theories to better reflect the natural world. This approach emphasizes the necessity of knowing that scientific knowledge is not absolute. Scientific conceptions and hypotheses are constantly challenged and revised as new facts and worldviews emerge. Remarkably, the Buddha, who lived 2,500 years ago, stated a similar
500 years
idea,
ago.
albeit in a different way. All notions such as cause and effect, sequence, atoms, basic elements, are all figments of imagination and manifestations of the mind. The Buddha, the self, is not a rational concept. The Buddha believes that the concept of self is not reasonable. The self is simply an emotion, so awareness is an illusion, and the sensation of self is simply a brain activity. Humans live in an unconscious dreamlike condition, believing in their own existence. As a result, individuals become dependent on conceptions and forms, unaware that they are nothing more than mental activity. The Buddha declared that this misperception will impede humanity's freedom. The Buddha called this ignorance, or anatta, non-self, which Einstein defined as the illusion of consciousness. The Buddha's remedy to assist us escape this prison is to develop and purify our minds while following a clear road, the Noble Eightfold Road and Four Noble Truths. The Buddha's path also includes showing unbiased compassion to all beings. According to the Buddha, attachment, desire, causes suffering, while also preventing escape from this prison. According to Einstein, this prison limits our love to our closest relationships. He stated that compassion must embrace all living beings in order to escape this prison. Einstein's effort to explore the mysteries of the world can be seen through this statement. The most beautiful and profound experience is the sensation of the mystical. It is the sower of all true science. He to whom this emotion is a stranger, who can no longer wonder and stand wrapped in awe, is as good as dead. To know that what is impenetrable to us really exists, manifesting itself as the highest wisdom and the most radiant beauty which our dull faculties can comprehend only in their primitive forms. This knowledge, this feeling, is at the center of true religiousness. Albert Einstein, The Merging of Spirit and Science. Einstein, the Buddha, and Understanding the Universe. Einstein stated that, despite its enormous intelligence, the human intellect is still incapable of fully comprehending the universe's unfathomable secrets. He never stopped admiring the beauty and order with which nature operates. He described this acceptance and better understanding as authentic religiosity. An intriguing interaction between the Buddha and one of his students reveals a similar approach. The disciple said, "Lord Buddha, how vast is the universe?" The Buddha responded, "Does knowing the size of the universe help you escape from suffering?" When the disciple conceded that it did not, the Buddha replied, "Then why focus on matters that do not help in ending suffering?" Buddhism emphasizes that instead of becoming preoccupied with metaphysical inquiries and curiosities that do not address humanity's central issue, suffering, one should concentrate on determining the causes and answers to it. Buddhism sees the universe as an infinite circle of cause and effect that exists eternally without a precise beginning, but with cycles of renewal and new eras beginning. The lesson shared by Einstein and the Buddha is to free oneself from unnecessary constraints by expanding one's mind and compassion, striving for deep understanding and completely tackling the problem of suffering and the cause of suffering. Buddha taught that those who are concerned with the origin of the universe and other topics are being distracted from the purpose of religious practice. This lesson is commonly illustrated by the tale of the poisoned arrow. Suppose a man gets shot with a poisoned arrow, and his relatives and friends locate a medical professional who can extract the arrow. Should the guy declare, "I refuse to have this arrow taken out until I have confirmation of the shooter's identity and family, and whether they were a merchant, priest, or prince. Until I find out what sort of bow was used, and if the arrowhead was iron or of the regular variety, I won't permit it to be taken off." He won't likely get another chance to hear the replies before he finds out all of this. The Buddha uses this anecdote to teach us that solving immediate issues like pain and a lack of calm in life is more essential than studying the genesis of the universe or engaging in comparable pursuits. Renowned philosopher Bertrand Russell previously gave an explanation for his acceptance of the Buddhist theory of the beginning of the universe. Of all the religious founders worldwide, I hold the Buddha in the highest regard. The first cause is that the Buddha said nothing concerning the world's beginnings. The only teacher who understood the actual character of the world was the Buddha. Russell Bertrand. It's interesting to note how much attention psychologists and scientists in the present era devote to understanding the mind and brain. In Western psychology and medicine, Buddhist meditation techniques, including mindfulness, breath meditation, and compassion, are frequently employed. In the future, it would be fantastic if more scientists with the same vision as Einstein came out to close the knowledge gap between science and Eastern philosophy.
Awesome. All right, so Einstein has a kind of a famous quote that I would like to share with you in regards to what we're discussing today. A human being is a part of a whole called to us by the universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts, and his feelings as something separate from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. How remarkable this aligns with the Buddha's insights that the self is an illusion, a construction born of ignorance, both inviting us to dissolve the boundaries of ego and recognize the unity of all existence. Furthermore, the Buddha emphasized compassion and the path to liberation. He taught us that by understanding the suffering of others, we transcend our own. Similarly, Einstein thought a man of science spoke with profound moral clarity. Our task must be to free ourselves from widening our circle of compassion, to embrace all creatures and the whole of nature and its beauty. So in their own ways, both invite us to cultivate a boundless love that encompasses all beings. Lastly, let us reflect on the spirit of this inquiry. The Buddha encourages us to question, to test, and to seek truths for ourselves, proclaiming, do not believe in anything simply because you have heard it, but after you observe it, you analyze it, and you find that it agrees with your own reasoning. So if it resonates with you. So even the teachings that he taught, and then I'm sitting here teaching, I do the same as the Buddha. I encourage you to use your power of discernment, see how it fits for you, and is it a truth for you. And the same way, if something doesn't resonate with you, be okay with setting it aside and aligning with what you resonate with. And that really is the power of discernment, and that will help you take some of the reactions that come from holding so strongly to belief systems that you don't really have that resonation for, but you've been told to believe. And so what that equals is it's going to have some reactions in your life that you're naturally going to react to. So when you start to take that principle and start to discern things, you're absolutely going to be in more power of what comes out in your reality based off of your reactions. And so now as we walk the path, let us carry with us a shared wisdom of these two luminous minds. May we see the impermanence of all things, transcend the illusion of self, and extend our compassion out to all things, all people, and hold space for ourselves as well as other people on their journeys and in their paths. So in doing so, we honor both the timeless teachings of the Buddha and the transformative insights of Albert Einstein. May we all become free from our suffering and all beings live in peace and harmony. So that is the sermon for today that I have. I felt it kind of important to bring about how science is actually has kind of proof and leans towards the practices that we are cultivating in our lives, which is very beautiful. So we are going to move on now. Thank you.
You alright?
Yeah. No.
Yes.
It happens.
What do you want to do now?
All right. So I'd like to
Namaste.
invite everyone to give this a try.
So I want
This
to
is
share
very
something
helpful
with you
for
that can help you
before
during
we do a
meditation,
meditation.
breath work, mindfulness, just to still your mind, quiet yourself, and allow more access to hear your higher self.
Thank you. We're having temple service right now. If y'all want to join, or you can look around, whatever you would like. You're definitely welcome. Okay, perfect. Yeah. All right, so this is the part of temple service where I offer everybody an opportunity to kind of see anything that you can actually kind of put a finger on that might be a blockage for you, or some energy that you're trying to outgrow, move past. So I'm going to go around and do an attunement, and if you can visualize this thing that you would like to move forward from, so you can just have kind of a thought in your mind. Thank you for what you taught me. I now release you and move forward. And I'm going to go around and give everybody a little help with releasing that thing.
Hey. Mom, when are we going home?
We are going home.
And would you like for me to?
Yeah.
Awesome.
What does the Jetsy say?
Awesome.
Close your eyes and
Jetsy
listen.
say?
Can you close your eyes?
You can do it however
What's
you
the
feel
Jetsy say?
comfortable. Just be. You're okay. Oh.
Jets, I was gonna cast the next spring.
All right.
We're going home?
Okay, we're going to pause this for a second. Okay, so now I'd like to invite everyone to take part in a breathing exercise. It's called the infinity breath. And so we're going to focus on our breath for a minute. And then I'm going to go straight into a quick little meditation. It's called a body scan meditation. And so we're going to go from one to the next. So the infinity breath. Before we start, I'll just do a quick little explainer. The first, if you think of a figure 8, right, the infinity sign. So the breath is going to be very much like that. So on the downward loop where we're going to start with, we're going to blow all of our stale old air and energy out. And then when we come to our center, the end of our breath there, we're going to hold just for a second. And then when we breathe in, the top loop, we're just going to envision cosmic creator light, just purifying back our state, because that's what we are. So we're going to be breathing that back in, purifying our energy back. And then when we breathe out the bottom loop again, we're just circulating. So, and nobody has to stay up with anybody else's pace. You just get comfortable in your own breath. And once you're in it, just keep following your breath. Keep your awareness on your breath. And then we're going to go into the meditation. All right, if everybody is ready, blow all that stale air and energy out. At the end, just kind of hold there for a second. And when we breathe in that top loop, just visualize all that creator light. Hold it. And circulate that through your being. It may take a few loops to get yourself comfortable in your own pattern. And just keep focusing on your breath. Now I'd like to invite you to bring your awareness to your toes and your feet as they touch the ground and connect with Mother Earth. And just feel that connection with yourself to the earth. You may feel a little tingling in your toes, or just feel the hardness of your feet on the floor and connecting. And as you breathe, I just want you to visualize and feel that energy pulling up through your feet and rising up through your body. And as it moves up with each breath, you may want to just tell your body, oh, it's okay to relax. I feel you. I love you. And then just continue to pull that energy up through your body, through your energy points, your chakra system. Just feeling the breath. And as it moves up more, now we're in the heart area. You may want to actually see your heart chakra expanding out and getting bigger, connecting back to oneness, and just seeing and feeling how that heart center just really does connect us to everything. When we open it and allow it to do what it does, just radiating out through everything. Continue to pull that energy, that air, that breath upwardly. Now it's in your throat chakra. You may feel the need to make a noise, or just feel it in there. The power of the voice to speak our truth is so amazing. Just be grateful. And then pull that breath and air and energy up now, and it's in your brow. People may think of this as your third eye chakra, which you want to just see the energy flowing through there. If you have a need to feel like you want to tap your third eye a little bit, that is perfect. Feel free to do so. And as you pull that energy up and through, now it's just blasting out of your crown chakra and just connecting back the same way that it's coming in through your feet. Now it's just blasting back out and connecting back with everything again. Just focus on that connection to everything, and when you're ready, you're welcome to open your eyes back again and just be aware of your surroundings and just bring that harmony feeling, that connection to oneness with you.
Hey,
You're welcome.
what is the gift you say?
Yes, you're very welcome. All right, so each week we are all about integration and mindfulness throughout the week. So each week we have a Reiki healing of the mind, a little short clip that I've created that can help you be more focused on one aspect of the teachings throughout the week. So today we have enlightenment. So let's see.
Enlightenment.
No matter how much of your life you dedicate to spirituality, you will probably still need to do some work in some manner to feed yourself, clothe yourself, keep yourself warm, and live comfortably. There is an old Zen Buddhist saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Meditate on this for a while today and see how it can help you in your life. Become part of the family by joining the YouTube channel. And like and share so we can share Reiki healing of the mind with others. Namaste. Here we offer a bunch of different services and different classes, workshops that can help you in your journey.
Yeah.
And so this video is going to share some of them with you. Awesome. All right. So I just want to say thank you everyone for coming today and joining. We have a couple new people today, and I would definitely love to invite you all back.
Thank you.
Yes.
I've enjoyed this. Max, did you enjoy it?
Enjoy it.
Yes, awesome. So what we do after temple service is whomever comes to temple service, we do a podcast afterwards of anybody that wants to join, and then we discuss your personal perspective of how you received the message, and then also integration from last week to next week. So we do invite you all to stay for that if you would like to. And the same goes with the online. Thank you so much everyone for joining. If you want to hang back and take part in the podcast, then we're going to start that in just a few minutes. Until then, we will see you next week, and thank you so much. Awesome. So let me just give this a nice little turn here. All right, here. That's what we do right there, and then we just go over there. Eventually, we're gonna have a whole nother YouTube setup where I'm working on it right now, where we can have a separate live going for the podcast. But for now, we're just making the best of it, just flipping it around. Yeah. Awesome. Would you guys like to take part?
We probably are here with his sister and brother.
Okay.
But I
No problem. Well, I'm so glad. I'm
get in touch with what you're doing here.
awesome. Well, I would love to give you one of these, and this
Yeah.
will give you a little more insight. If you're around today at 5, we're going to be doing a Sit Paint Zen as a paint party. Yeah, this is what we're going to be painting today, and it's step by step, so there's no pressure on what your skill level is. And exactly, yeah. And then there's always the freedom to just go crazy and do whatever you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for including us.
You're so welcome. I'm so glad that you stayed. Yes.
I know this is something that even my daughters do.
So we do temple service every Sunday at 2:30.
Okay.
About 2 o'clock to 2:30, we start fellowshipping and coming in slowly and everything, and we start at 2:30.
I see. Here.
Yeah.
Here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we're a nonprofit. So 100%. This is no charge. If you ever want to make a donation to us to help further our mission, that's wonderful. But we just love to have you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for having us.
You're very welcome.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. It's so nice to meet you. What is your name?
Max.
Max, I'm Aaron. And what's your name? Jenny. Nice to meet y'all. Awesome.
Yes. So.
Awesome. Well,
Thank
it's
you.
so nice to meet you. You're very welcome. I mean, you're welcome to look around at the candles and the soaps and all that stuff too.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Feel free. Feel free to.
You
to
should
roam.
be selling this, right? Or I guess, or
Yeah. Yes, everything here is for sale. It's a low base price, and then if you want to donate on top of that, that's wonderful.
Right.
Hey.
Okay, thank you.
Knock, knock.
Hey, no.
All right.
Is it?
It is.
Yeah, right, we're going home.
Yeah, there's no way to like pause it or anything. So, not that I know. Thank you so much. I think that gets us all in there with my little chair.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting today, huh?
Yeah. You got a few people.
Yeah, I love that. Here, I can feed these through. Yeah, that was great. See everyone? I think, yes, I do. Look how beautiful. We're all in there. Okay. So let me see here. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna do a couple of these little musics. Get us started. Day. Welcome to Lotus Flower Temple. We are having our podcast now. So we do this after temple service every week where we discuss personal perspective of the sermon that we discussed today and also integration from last week to this week. I'm Erin.
I'm Quinn. Miguel.
And Miguel, awesome, yeah. So we would like to say welcome to, I see somebody's on the live now, so welcome to the podcast that we are doing now. And I just want to send out some love to everyone there. So today we talked about something quite interesting. The perspective that Albert Einstein's his scientific equations on life, the universe, and everything, you can find direct correlation with that and the Buddha's teachings, which I found very interesting. And I thought that it would be a really interesting thing to share today with everyone. We tend to start with you. So we're going to start with Miguel today. So did you think that that was quite interesting to look at a perspective of Albert Einstein and Buddha kind of having similar thoughts on certain things?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly thought it was pretty cool, and I mean, I do, I know that what Albert Einstein believed was kind of, it's actually more of a deist um, perspective, and many scientists and politicians, like especially like very like in like those earlier eras, they were what you would call deists, which was kind of this belief that okay, they believed in God, but he wasn't really like active in their lives or anything like that. And so, and I mean, as a person of science, but also as a Christian, you know, it's like I love science. I just that's always been something that I've always loved, you know. But at the same time, you know, it's like I kind of find it funny that you know, like as much research as I've done, you know, you know, like when I was younger, I was just a die-hard atheist, non-believer. You know what I'm saying? But at no point did I, you know, even to this day, you know, when I felt like I tried
Welcome
to,
in.
you know, in those times.
Yeah, make yourselves at home.
But during those times, you know, I realized, wow, you know, it's like I tried to use science to disprove the belief, you know, in the possibility. But at no point did I, you know, and I realized that I could, you know, and so, but I like Albert Einstein's perspective though but it's only as in my perspective as a Christian, I feel like he is half true, you know, in a sense because okay, you know, when you're a non-believer or you're in very little faith, and whatnot, I feel like yes, God doesn't interfere in your personal affairs. But I feel like the things that I've personally witnessed and experienced as a Christian, it's like I realize when you have such a strong faith and you put your your belief wholeheartedly into that, you start to notice things that you're like, wow, this is like there's no way I could explain it other than something that's higher above me, you know, and so I just think it's just really really cool, and I mean, and I think that and I mean Albert Einstein's not wrong. It's just that he's not seeing. I feel like in a way he's not, perhaps maybe not seeing the bigger picture, other than what he's theorized and stuff like that. And like I said, I love science. I really do. That's always been one of my favorite uh, subjects. Growing up. And so, but if anything, um, and, I feel like it's kind of more of a way of explaining, what's already there, rather than trying to disprove anything, And so, but I certainly, I think it's very interesting, what I'm saying, and even with the Buddha's teachings, I feel like not even at any point does it really disprove the existence of God, because it's not really there was ever the goal. It's just more of a means of trying to find personal betterment, which in a way, as a Christian, I feel like that's really more supplementary for me, because it kind of helps me better myself while also getting closer to my deity that I wholeheartedly believe in. So, and as science and the scientific perspective, it kind of gives me more of a grasp and understanding of, once again, of who I believe to be my creator. So,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I greatly appreciate it. We've got some nice insight from your perspective, so thank you so much, my dear.
Yeah.
And Quinn, what would you like to say about how you received today's sermon and your personal perspective?
I definitely feel that, be it Christianity, Buddhism, any religion really, all of this is in flowing relation. It's not like Einstein has like a counter religious belief in any way, shape, or form. The idea of God from Einstein's perspective is a God that is omnipresent, which is, as stated in the Bible, in all things. So God is in nature, God is in the animate and the inanimate. God is in cause and effect. God is in all scientific principles. God is in like every sort of like phenomenon that exists, every person that walks the earth. And in that way, God does have an influence on people's lives. And, people also have an influence because we are a part of that system. So when we pray, when we manifest, when we put our energy into certain outcomes, when we ask for things and we believe that we have received them, we are able to co-create, and we're able to shift reality in certain ways. And this is something that's even supported by science. I feel like the idea that there are any real, religions or ideologies that are completely counter to one another is not realistic. It's not the core of what those beliefs truly are. It's more what the politicization of those beliefs has made them out to be. It's it's what is it's what separates the idea of religion from the idea of spirituality, which is to say, I feel like certain human authorities who proclaim that, oh, it must be this one way, and refuse to look deeper into the actual teachings or dig into the symbolism and the actual undertones of the message that is given. And I know that there's a lot in atheist ideology that when they go to the Bible, they immediately pick apart that it has been rewritten. It has been translated in various different ways that don't necessarily mean the same things as the original language, and it has been also put together by a number of Pharisees, some of whom had different political ideologies and different goals in what they chose to include and what they chose not to include. But even so, even in that work, the reason why I believe it's called God's Word is because even in their own machinations and their own everything it's gone through, there is an underlying meaning that can be found in all of it. And especially, back in that time, there was a great amount of emphasis put on numerology, which isn't really explored much in biblical teaching, but there are numerological meanings in the Bible that aren't really looked into in typical churches. So really all this just to say that there's I feel like there's a much bigger picture than any one religion really holds on its own, or at least really explores on its own. And so it's good to actually look into the different theologies and different different interpretations, and to try and compare them to one another and to see where they match up, because there you'll find truth.
That's funny that you say so about that, because maybe not next week, but very shortly coming, I'm actually preparing a sermon that does exactly that.
All right.
Yes. So there is a temple called the Lotus Flower Temple, and it focuses on essentially uniting all religions into one place, and it's not necessarily non-denominational; it's all denominational, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so something that in my studies of what they're doing there, something that I felt very drawn to was bringing to the awareness, first of all, what the different religions, kind of their standpoint is, their mottos, the different perspectives that they take, and then finding a place of harmony within all the others. So, which is pretty cool. So I love that you said that, because that is something that we are going to focus on very soon coming. So, yay. Hang on, where's my tears here? I know I have, there it is. Yay!
Yeah, and definitely something that I remember hearing from the book, from the book Conversations with God, is... Yeah. Hold on just a second.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Something I remember in Conversations with God was the idea of God didn't send just one teacher and just said, okay, I'm done. He sent many teachers over the years. It wasn't just Jesus. It wasn't just Buddha. There have been many teachers that have been sent, that have been sort of like, you know, their energy was what was needed to teach humanity. These spiritual principles, and these ideas, and there's a reason why they flow together so well. When you actually go down to their core, uh, you know, the only thing really separating them is a bunch of names and time periods. But, even now there are teachers being sent. There are people who feel called to show the world as it is, and to help people to uncover who they truly are, to help people to find themselves and to let go of programming, and to just learn to live harmoniously in this world.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Absolutely. And yes, we're definitely going to get more into that, because I do think that uh, it is the time in just in history for us all to start accepting each other, for what we choose for ourselves. And first of all, in my opinion, is it starts with you. When you can hold that space for yourself of acceptance of who you are in your truth, getting rid of some of the programming that doesn't suit you, and you start to hold a space for yourself as such, it naturally happens as a cause and effect outside. So then you naturally start to do that with very little effort for others. And so that really is a very pivotal part of our coming back together as one in humanity. And so, yeah, you think of the whole world. Wow, it's kind of a big idea to try to, make this change in the whole world. And that's not what the effort is about. It's about holding that space for your authentic true self, holding that space for yourself. And then naturally, that is what is going to be your energy from there on out. Moving forward is that holding the space for not just yourself, but others.
Right.
And so that is, I feel like, one of the big things that this shift is offering to us now. Mm-hmm. And a lot of things that I've personally seen happen in the last 7 years.
Yeah,
that's helped with that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of barriers that are more, they're not real, but we pretend that they are. Like barriers between self and other, barriers between countries, borders, barriers between different religious ideologies, barriers between different worldviews. It's all part of the same thing. It's only separated by our own personal choice to separate it, like by our own personal demarcations, by lines we draw in the sand. But they're not real lines. They're just lines that we make in our brains.
Right. Hang on, let me just give him the little cheer. I love it. Yes. We actually discussed that a bit today. Is that it is a personal perspective, right, of how we see that line or whatever, but it does happen here. It is right here, and but when we look at things more from a manifestation perspective, then we see that it starts here. But just as easily as we can see that line, we can start to not see that line.
Right.
And then when we put more energy into that, that specifically, that's where we're putting our vital life force energy into, and then of course that's going to show more into your reality of the life that you experience. So then therefore you're going to start to experience more opportunities, more experiences where that is the truth, where that is the because you're looking through that perspective, right?
Right.
You know,
Like, it's really kind of a black and white thinking that is very common in programming, that, we don't really see the gradient between everything that is. We see a firm line between one thing and another, but that's not how it exists in the world. That's just how it exists in our perspective.
yeah. That's a nice point there, right? And that's very, very true. Um, looking at it from one perspective, that line seems to be solid, right? But when you get down and you take it, for instance, a zoom on a camera, and you're like looking at that line and get bigger and bigger, or a microscope, you see it's a bunch of dots that connect all together, that you're now seeing as this one solid line, but in the truth of it, it is really not a solid line. So I love that you brought that into the perspective as well. Would you like to add anything to what we're discussing here?
Um, well, I think with any belief though, um, it requires a lot of discipline and a lot of free will, and I mean, like the words religion and programming, they get thrown around a lot, but really because it requires so much discipline, not everybody can do it, and it's because it's a spiritual awareness not everybody has. Some people, they're they're like, oh, I need to get back in my spirituality. I'm gonna dabble in my spirituality, but it's not just one of those things where, oh, I'll just pick it up like a hobby.
Right.
It's a lifestyle, because it becomes, once you start to pick up the breadcrumbs, and like I've said before, it's like, growing up as an atheist, and realizing I'm not getting anywhere. But as I start to see these little signs here and there, and as I start to really embrace a different lifestyle, I realize, wow, things are. I'm feeling happier within myself. Things are just getting better in my life, and it's like, because I put in the effort to learn something that's beyond just what I think is right. And it's like, uh, I've let go of my pride, and just learn to just, okay, listen to other people, you know what I'm saying, and kind of just humble myself in a way where, oh, that there's things that I may or may not truly ever understand, but at the same time, the things that I can understand, I try to understand, and the things within my power that I can grasp, I try to, because nobody can know everything and nobody can do everything. So, at any point, anyone who has this belief in their mind that I'm always right and I can do everything, they're gonna have a hard time in their life.
Hi, y'all. Welcome
You
in. Make
know,
yourselves a home.
and so, and I've kind of learned that the hard way, and so, uh, that's why I say, it's discipline, and free will is two of the most important things that anybody who has any kind of spirituality, be, um, and faith too. Faith, discipline, and free will. Because we have to have faith that, okay, there's something out there beyond our perceivable notions, and the uh, the discipline to, to put our efforts into learning about it, and to wholeheartedly believing that this is the case, and then the free will to actually put in these actions and not just say, oh, I won't worry about it today. I'll worry about it another day. Or, oh, I'm just going to do my own thing because, oh, this isn't important right now. I mean, because it's so easy for somebody to just go the easy route, which is to do nothing at all.
Mhm.
And so, uh, but, I've learned that nothing worth doing is worth working for, and nothing worth doing is easy. So, I mean, if it's easy, it's probably not good for you, in all honesty. In every aspect, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And so a lot of times we're gonna go through suffering. And a lot of times we're gonna go through hardships, and it's part of the discipline.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I feel like what I hear you saying is if you don't sense a little bit of resistance somewhere, you're probably not pushing towards something that is going to benefit you a whole lot. If you're
Right.
not sensing a little bit
Yeah.
of pushback.
Yeah,
Right.
like it's kind of like this concept that I've heard before. The idea is to run towards your fears, because like where you're feeling that resistance, where you're feeling that fear, a lot of times like it's a social fear. It's like it's more of sorry to say this word again, but programming. It's that idea that you have in your head that people are going to think less of me for being this way or for who I am. Um, or like even if like if you want something, but you're afraid of like upsetting the balance or afraid of rocking the boat, like there's so many ways in which like you need that kind of self-discipline to push yourself to be like, no, I'm going to do it scared, right? And that's
Right.
what courage is.
Right.
It's doing it scared, even if like it's something that your parents say you're never going to make it, right? Like, or you're never going to be able to do this thing that you want to do, or like you won't be able to make money doing that. Like, there's a lot of common sense rules that we have in the world that really it's more our own manifestation that keeps us where we are by clinging to that common sense worldview that we can't get any higher or that we can't get any further because like we haven't been there before. Like so much of what we have thought in the past was only impossible until someone proved it wasn't impossible anymore.
Sure that. Yes. Exactly. Something that's coming to my mind right now is that you can't really know what you don't know until you come into it, until you know it. And then a lot of times what happens is that new knowing can almost go back and like cross some of your truths out, right? Like, wow,
Right.
that kind of like squashes this old belief system because now I have experience and and now I have a true perspective of knowledge within this of this experience that kind of washes away that old belief system that I used to have. So as we grow and as we mature in our truth, we do have to be okay with letting go of some of these old things that were only, maybe not to say it's not true at all, but it just wasn't to the level of truth
Oh
that
yeah.
can stand with now your new level of truth. So
Right.
yeah, we
Like,
got to be
and
willing to let go of some of the old
I,
things.
I definitely, I can personally relate to that. I have gone through many different layers of understanding. Like, I believed things to be a certain way, and then, like, I came to understand that certain parts of that understanding weren't entirely right, or weren't entirely true to me. Um, you know, and like bit by bit I've realized places where I felt like I've gotten the details wrong. Um, but like over time, that's a part of our spiritual growing up, right? To acknowledge and to understand where we are wrong, to um, to recognize the nuance of things more than anything. Not even that we're entirely wrong about a certain thing, but that like the nature of it is at least minutely different than what we initially
Well, that's like science,
thought.
right?
Yeah.
We start out with a hypothesis, and then we do some experiments and everything, and it might not be exactly the way that we originally hypothesized. There's some of it, but then that leads us to the next hypothesis, right?
Yeah.
And so it is a process, and then maybe years go by, and we realize that first hypothesis, wow, we've done a lot of work now in this discovery. So that's as true as that was when we first started out, not necessarily the full truth anymore. Now we have things that add on to it. So yeah, it's the same with us too in our process of growth and getting back to our authentic truth and what resonates with us. So that's a very good thing to point out. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, and I definitely something that I personally feel is that like there's honestly in most things there's at least a little bit of truth, right? There's at least a small bit of truth in most things, in most ideas. It may not be like the big part of that idea or like the major thrust of the argument, but maybe like certain small details are actually right. Um, even if like the entire or the major portion of it is incorrect, there may be like small parts of it that are actual hidden wisdom that is within that larger false idea.
Yeah.
So I think it is sometimes worth looking into things that are wrong and trying to understand them, or even just things that we believe are wrong at the time. Sometimes we'll find out that our idea was more false as we look more into it. I think it's important to be open, really, is the thing.
Yeah.
The important thing is to allow ourselves to see different perspectives and to allow ourselves to recognize where they're coming from and what they mean, and to look more into depth with what we believe. Like, to not just take it at surface value, to not just take someone's word for it, to not just, to become our own inner scientist.
Right.
Right? To analyze and to discover who we really are, we need to discover what we truly believe. And that's a large part of what we're doing with our lives. We are discovering what we truly believe. We're discovering who we truly are. We're discovering what we are and are not okay with. We're discovering where our boundaries are. We're discovering how to better serve ourselves and to serve others and to understand ourselves and to understand others. So
We're all here for each other in that aspect as well, because try figuring out and seeing who you are without a mirror, what you look like.
Right.
So with the deeper stuff, not just the physically what you look like, but all that other stuff comes from seeing perspectives of what other people are doing, what you feel about resonation with or not with someone else. And that's how we get to know ourselves more, based off of a lot of times of what we aren't.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it comes straight from like, no, I know that I don't resonate with that.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So, yeah, very beautiful point that you're making there as well.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like even better than the term wrong, the term what we resonate with is more accurate to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. So I would like to bring up any work that from last week to this week. Does anybody have anything to share about some of your the work that you've been doing for integration from the lessons that we've worked through till this point? Does anybody have anything you'd like to share about that?
Well, I don't know about if it's necessarily on theme, but recently I had a Reiki session with you, and we did some activations, and that really, um, opened me up a bit. It helped me to face some things that, um, certain kinds of like ideas that were holding me back. Uh, just I personally have struggled with various forms of performance anxiety, and uh, also just moving into new things. I have felt like it's hard to feel like you can do something when you haven't done it before, right? And especially when you see someone doing it better than you. And it's hard to really fully come into that confidence, or to really accept that, I can be that good, and it's okay for me to be successful as well, right? Something I've come across in a podcast before is the idea of the fear of success, and not knowing what to do afterwards. Some people they'll deal with imposter syndrome when they finally get where they want to be. They'll start to feel like they're an imposter, like they don't really belong there. But it's really helped me to have more confidence in myself, and to really accept myself where I am, and that I accept my potential as well.
Awesome. Yay. Yay. Thank you so much for sharing. That was a complete surprise for me. So I was super happy to hear that. Thank you so much for sharing. And Miguel, do you have anything that you would like to share with us about your integration from, prior temple services, how you're coming along and moving along in your growth?
I can't really say anything specific, but just it's just kind of an accumulation of my overall spiritual studies, and just and I mean I would say that this week versus first week, or this week versus last week, was, I would say, a pretty good segue, like, so from talking about heaven and hell, and other spiritual manners, to kind of a more scientific approach with Albert Einstein's outlook, kind of gives more of a good segue between between the things. So, but I mean, yeah, I would, but I wouldn't say anything specific overall that I would mention. But but it certainly, it's, yeah, it adds to my learning, and I'm always you know loving to learn something new, and add it to my overall wisdom, for sure.
Yay, awesome. Well, I want to tell you that I was when you were talking and you mentioned the discipline that it takes to achieve anything.
Yes.
But most definitely a change within your reactions based off of taking responsibility